Alright, kind of doing a reaction video. Going to be 2 or 3 parts probably. Thunderbutt has made a video maligning high school dropouts, number one. College dropouts really badly. And just anybody who sits there and points a finger at any of our industrial complexes and says, foul, bullshit, screw that crap, they're doing it wrong, they're doing it inefficiently. And so, yeah, some guy took a poke at the education system, kind of basically said, yeah, I got out of college and I got a lot smarter the day I walked out of that fucking shithole. And so, yeah, I think it's a valid argument, and Thunderfoot just kind of shat on it. He couldn't make a real argument, so he just kind of shot his little hollow points, you know, hollow everything. His hollow argument at the guy personally. So fuck that shit. So anyway, it's worth a response. So we'll do the whole damn video because I really think Thunderfoot is a pretentious asshole.
I dropped out of school because my schooling was interfering with my education. It is clear to the world that something just isn't working with institutional education. And most people say that this means we need to change institutional education. But to the educators of the world, I am here today to say that I disagree. You don't need to change anything. You simply need to understand that the world is changing, and if you don't change with it, the world will decide that it doesn't need you.
I like that. A pretentious and patronizing dropout presumes to speak for the world. So how is it friggin' relevant? Again, Einstein, failed 6th grade math or whatever. We can go down the list of dropouts who are billionaires. There's lots of arguments to be made. This is really just a really cheap argument. And then to take his clips like this and slice them together and dice them together to sort of make some point that somehow he's contradicting himself. There was context to his statements, and you fucked the context. So you're the one cheating already. The video you haven't even started your argument yet, and you've already cheated his.
Until next time, I am Dan Brown.
Dan, I have a reputation for being a particularly humorless bastard when it comes to people bad-mouthing science, knowledge, and education.
Yeah, well, I can't seem to get you, I can't provoke you into a good fight, alright? Because, yeah, I think you're an ignorant asshole, too. Besides being a pretentious, pontificating motherfucker, I think you're a fucking menace with your fucking beauty in the universe bullshit. Let's be a pantheist instead of a fucking creationist, like there's a fucking goddamn difference.
And as such, when someone like yourself gets up in front of their 200 or so thousand subscribers and says, I dropped out of school because my schooling was interfering with my education, you're damn straight that's going to get a response.
Yeah, because you're a Mr. Education guy, apparently. Alright, so I'll post a link to a separate channel on this subject of education. And the fact that, I think we're paying the wrong end, we're servicing the wrong end. You want kids to learn, then give them incentives to learn. Make it like a job to learn. And real investment, not this fake one. Learn as you do kind of thing, too, would be a hell of a lot better. But yeah, all this information, this is the information age. It should be all accessible. It should be for free right there. And there's a lot of it there already. You can learn a hell of a lot on this internet. If I had a kid, he wouldn't be wasting his time in some jackass school. He'd be on this thing, as many hours as he can be awake.
Now let me ask you a question, Dan. Why do you think it is, that so few times that society looked to the college dropout for visionary insight as to ways we can make things better in the future, say for instance?
Now, this is where you make a pretty bogus argument, right? Because what have all the Henry Kissinger types, what have all these PhD doctorate jackasses done for the fucking world? Why don't you explain to us how they've gotten the wars right? Why don't you explain how they've gotten the economics right? Why don't you explain how they've gotten the education system right, where we spend this preposterous amount of fucking money, all the huge amounts of redundancy in this performance art bullshit, no efficiencies built into the system whatsoever. So why don't you explain how your PhDs did a brilliant job of engineering the education system? Because I can point out glaring inefficiencies, grotesque inefficiencies. This isn't even a steam engine of what we should have compared to a nuclear power plant. This isn't even, this is a bowl with a hole drilled in it. You know, and you're calling it a clock. This is a pile of shit we have because of you fucking PhDs.
With the education system. Why do you think that is? Well, let me see if I can actually help you out a bit here and I want you to do this by contrasting the view of someone who didn't drop out of college, say for instance like myself, with the way that you view the problem. Someone who did drop out.
Yeah, right. Now, is there a point there? No, you're just playing games. Come on, get to the point.
But let's start on a point of universal agreement, like this.
To succeed as a planet in the 21st century, a strong education for every human being isn't just important, it is essential.
Bravo, Dan. Couldn't agree with you more. But you see, from
yeah, right. So why didn't you take that agreement and go with it then? Why don't you make that the theme and say, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. What do you think? Okay, as a dropout, as somebody who found the educational institution a turnoff, you know, like having a pointy stick shoved up your ass, as somebody who really hated it, compared to me, somebody who really loved it and wallowed in this academic nerditodium. You know, why don't we sit there and talk about it? Now, instead of saying that, well, you're just doing this, let's buffoon. You're fucking college graduate and you're a fucking buffooner.
An argument to be convincing, for an argument to be compelling, an argument must be cohesive. It must contain.
No, all it's got to contain is it's got to hit the receiver, okay? And there's lots of people going to receive that message and say, you know, you're damn right. The fucking institution sucks. It's a bureaucracy. It's a pile of shit. A bunch of these pompous assholes who think they're fucking God just because they have some fucking information they've stored in their pocket, and now they're going to sell it to you for, you know, oh yeah, buy a $500 book, do this, do that, and then of course they want you to buy their book in the end too. These professors.
Concise concepts. It must not contain diametrically opposed, internally inconsistent components.
Yeah, right. So every video you make in the future, I guess I'll watch it, you see, and I'll wait for you to say something that I can cut. You know, something from 5 minutes and something from 2 minutes and something from 7 minutes, and maybe if I take enough shit out of context, I can have you say 1 minute that, you know, the ducks waddle, and the next minute you say something like, well, waddle isn't a word, right? Or something like that.
Like this.
But to the educators of the world, I am here today to say that I disagree. You don't need to change anything. You simply need to understand that the world is changing, and if you don't change with it, the world will decide that it doesn't need you anymore.
Yeah, this is something it already should have decided. We don't need teachers. We need instruments that make information accessible, and we need to give individuals incentive to absorb that information, to want it. The more you want the information, the more likely it is to stick in your sticking brain on top of everything else. It's a win-win. We're paying the wrong end. We've got to quit listening to these pompous assholes who want to control people, these fucking elitist assholes with their fucking degrees who think they're worth something. No, let's just bribe a few of them, get the information, put it on a goddamn video, and give it to everybody for fucking goddamn free.
Dan, Proposition 1. Education is the most important thing in the world. There's no possible way we could live without it. Dan, Proposition 2. The educators don't...
Education and educators. Yeah, those two things really don't have to go together. We don't need educators anymore. That's archaic fucking science, okay? Yeah, there was a time when we didn't have tape recorders, and we didn't have video, and we didn't have any way to record what people said. We didn't even have books, weren't even very accessible. They were very, very expensive. So there was no universal knowledge you could pass from person to person. You had to have a person actually utter the goddamn words. Well, you don't need them to do any of that shit anymore. You can transcribe goddamn fucking lectures. You can videotape goddamn lectures. There's just no need for this information to be held in this elite auditorium someplace and have these completely insane fees for people to have access to this information.
I do what I want. We can live with that one. World doesn't need it. Now, are you starting to see, Dan, why we don't look to college dropouts for visionary insight in the way to run society in the future?
Yeah, well, let's look at the visionary insight that you're running the world with your PhDs, right? You got people flying planes into your goddamn buildings. Your fucking world is a greenhouse, and okay, to the point where we all might just have our asses fried. All right, so they're not running